I don't know, guys. This might be the best one. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we are here for a rousing, entertaining review of Pale Rider, Clint Eastwood and Pale Rider. And I said that because I was reading the pull quote from the back, so I apologize, guys. Look, we're gonna slow things down. We're gonna take a more calm, cool, and collective approach to reviewing Pale Rider today, because I think the movie takes a very calm, cool approach to the Western genre until all hell breaks loose and Clint Eastwood freaking hits somebody with a stick. Then it gets crazy. But yeah, guys, I'm excited to talk about Pale Rider today. We've talked about other Clint Eastwood. This will conclude my Warner Brothers Clint Eastwood 4K trilogy for the month of April. We talked about Dirty Harry on 4K recently, and we talked about The Outlaw Josie Wales recently on the channel. And I would say, like, these movies are very like loud and bombastic and flamboyant as films themselves. The Pale Rider is not really that. And I don't really hear a lot of people talking about this one, getting very excited for this one coming out on 4K. I feel like all the conversation was around Dirty Harry and The Outlaw Josie Wales, and people were just like, yeah, I guess I'll get Pale Rider too. But you know what? I want to talk about just why I think maybe you should be excited to get Pale Rider on 4K. Before we get into it, guys, hit that like button. I would appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button. Comment down below whatever you want to comment. Have you seen Pale Rider? Directed by Clint Eastwood as well. I will say that this is going for $23.79 right now, currently, just the 4K. I'll have it linked down below. There's also a Steelbook option, and the Steelbook, guys, is gorgeous. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I like the fact that the title screen on all these 4Ks is the Steelbook artwork. That just goes to show you that they had the Steelbook artwork like worked out very far in advance, and they probably used that as the title screen when they were authoring and making the discs. So you do have that Steelbook artwork when you pop in the disc. That's what's on the title screen, and it looks beautiful as soon as it comes up. So I did want to point that out because I didn't point that out on the Outlaw Josie Wales or Dirty Harry 4K reviews. So yeah, there's a Steelbook available. There is a regular 4K available. The Steelbook is $34.39. They're both on Amazon. I'll have the Amazon links down below, but they're also on Groove as well. And I think the Steelbook is a little bit cheaper on Groove. So if you want to go that option, I will also link that down below. But I think the regular standard is around the same price. I'll try to be brief with my thoughts on this movie. I think I kind of loved it. I really do. I don't know if I liked it more than Dirty. I don't think I liked it more than Dirty Harry. I think I liked it more than The Outlaw Josie Wales, though. You know, because it's just a lot calmer. It's a lot deeper, I feel like, with its story. I feel like at this point, this is 1985. Clint Eastwood had been directing for, I guess, 14 years. I think Play Misty for Me was 1971. I feel like he had reached a level of maturity, just as a, not only as a performer, but also like as a director. And he really showcases that here. Like, I feel like this is his best shot movie thus far, like in his directing career. And I haven't seen everything yet that he's directed, but I've seen, High Plains Drifter, which is a beautifully directed film. Not taking anything away from his films that he directed before this, but The Outlaw Josie Wales, I feel like there was like a fast, frantic like nature to both those films. This one, it feels more in line with like that classic like cinematography, the kind of cinematography that would win you best cinematography at the Oscars. And the cinematographer here was Bruce Surtees, who I think he worked with also on The Outlaw Josie Wales, and I think this was their last film together. But this one, to me, kind of acts as a prelude to Unforgiven. Like, this, again, like I said, shows a level of maturity. There's those deep like themes, those thematic elements that really make you think about the Old West and how things were and how people were portrayed and how people were kind of pit against each other. and just the things that they had to encounter and the obstacles that they had to overcome to make it in the Old West. Like these types of themes and obstacles that just weren't really talked about as much before Clint Eastwood came on the scene. Really kind of he kind of takes it to the next level with this movie, and then of course would take it to an even further place in Unforgiven, really getting deep with some of those themes as well. So I feel like this movie, like I said, shows a new level of maturity for Clint Eastwood as a director that I think would carry him into his masterpiece of Unforgiven, which I still think Unforgiven is his best movie, not just as an actor, but also as a director. So that's kind of how I watched this. Really good movie, though. Really good story. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed all the characters. Basically, you have a group of prospectors who moved out to the Old West to try to, do what all the prospectors do. They're hunting for gold, guys. That's what they're doing. They're digging for gold. That's why everybody moves out west. They want to make their fortune. They want to make it big. They want to get rich, basically. But there's also a mining corporation, an evil mining corporation that's out there trying to mine all this gold as well and make their company rich. But this mining corporation, they're trying to run everybody off their land, and this group of prospectors is one of the groups that they're trying to run off. And apparently, like, they have the land legally, but if they are able to, or if they leave the land, then this mining corporation can come in and take over. So that's what they want to do. They want to take this group of prospectors' land away from them so they can have that spot to also to dig for gold. But just when things are starting to get real rough, people are getting beat up in town, who shows up? None other than the lone gunman, the mysterious gunslinger, Clint Eastwood, the preacher, the Pale Rider, comes in to save the day. And give this community hope so they can kind of build up the strength to take on this mining corporation, build up the courage, essentially, to stand their ground and be like, no, this is our land, we're staying. But in the middle of that, you got some drama, a little love triangle between Clint Eastwood and the mom and the other guy that's trying to be the stepdad because her husband left her. And which, funny enough, the main guy in this movie besides Clint Eastwood is played by Michael Moriarty, I think is his name. And this is 1985. He was also in a very famous cult horror movie in 1985, directed by Larry Cohen, The Stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Michael Moriarty had a pretty great year in 1985 between The Stuff and Pale Rider, but he's really good in the movie. She's really good. I don't know that actress's name. And then the little girl as well. It's really kind of a love square because she kind of has the hots for Clint Eastwood as well, which could have been a little strange had they had not played it just right. And kudos to Clint Eastwood and his performance with that, because that could have came off very creepy and weird with him and that little girl. And it also helps that she's in the special features, kind of explain that as well, because she's like 14 in the movie and she has a crush on Clint Eastwood. They have a nice little scene together, but he plays it just right to where it just comes off as a girl that's got a crush on an older guy. And that happens. So hats off to the performers, because I'm sure people will watch this and be like, ooh, that's a little icky, blah, blah, blah. But I think they play it just right. I think it's balanced just right. So it's a nice story. I like all the characters involved. I like the struggle between the mining corporation and the group of prospectors. I think everything's handled well. Oh, also you got Chris Penn in this movie as one of the people in the mining corporation. Well, actually the boss. And he's very young as well in this film. This would have been, I think, the year after Footloose. So he's in the movie as well. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, good movie. And yeah, it's a very calm movie. It takes its time in kind of building the story and getting you into the characters and all that stuff. There's a little bit of a love story in here as well, which I think is handled well. But when the movie needs to be balls out action stuff, it is. There is some really good action set pieces. One of my favorites moments in the movie is where he kicks that big giant guy in the balls. Not trying to spoil, or maybe he hits him with the stick. I can't quite remember what it was. But that's a really funny scene, and he kind of gains his respect after that. And that guy was one of the villains in the Bond movies, I think. But I know him from Happy Gilmore. I was trying to figure out where do I know this guy? I know he's one of the Bond villains, but I don't really watch James Bond. He was in Happy Gilmore, and he played one of the giant characters that gets ready to mess up Shooter McGavin.
Oh, you can count. Good for you.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
Yeah, I really enjoy Pale Rider. I think it's a really great movie. Let's get into the to the 4K, guys. Let's give you what you came for. This is a native 4K. You got HDR10 here, no Dolby Vision, just like the other two Clint Eastwood 4Ks. And what can I say, guys? This is beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous to the point where I feel like I think I feel comfortable saying this is the best 4K of the three. I think I do. I really love the Dirty Harry 4K. I had a couple of issues with Josie Wells, but overall that was a great 4K as well. But as much as I love Dirty Harry, I feel like this movie had more of a chance to shine with that 4K and that HDR with that beautiful cinematography by Bruce Ortiz and just that outdoor setting. I thought this was gorgeous. Like you had the greenery and the trees, but you also had that snow kind of that snowy like hilltops and stuff like that because it's kind of winter. It's a little bit confusing because I guess it's winter the whole movie, but it kind of looks winter in one part of the movie and then the other part it's like, oh, this is like fall or something like that. But it looks gorgeous, like all the setting and everything, like the town itself, like the little village place that they're all living, just the houses. There's incredible detail and just the outfits that everybody's wearing. Clint Eastwood when he rides in like as the Pale Rider, which I didn't even get into all like the religious symbolism and stuff with that. There's so much I could talk about with that with this movie, but I'm not gonna get into all that. But Clint Eastwood looks great, you know, as the Pale Rider riding in. All the characters, so much depth and detail and clarity. It really was a gorgeous 4K. Like again, like to the point where I thought Dirty Harry looked great. It really did, but I feel like overall this had more of a chance to really shine in 4K. I feel like almost like The Searchers, not quite that level, but almost like The Searchers just had that opportunity to really showcase what it could do in 4K because it has all that like gorgeous scenery and backdrop. Like this movie kind of had the same thing going on. And the cinematography really is top notch. Like some of the shots in this movie are just breathtakingly beautiful and gorgeous. And I think that's on perfect display in 4K with that HDR. So I do think of the three, this was probably my favorite 4K of the three, if I'm being completely honest. Now, getting into the sound, guys, you do have that Dolby Atmos here as well. You got the Dolby True HD 7.1. You got the DTS HD Master Audio 2.0. You got French options for the 2.0 and Spanish options as well. And it sounded great. I don't know what you want me to say. Sound-wise, it was fantastic. You heard everything like you were supposed to hear it. And again, like if you have that full Atmos setup, like you're going to be blown away, I think, by this because there are some like really like I feel like I painted this movie as more like drama based, but there are like really like big like action set pieces and explosions and like gunfire and things like that, and that stuff does sound really good. Again, I'm just listening to it on the soundbar that kind of simulates the Atmos, so I don't have the full setup, but if you guys have it, I imagine you're going to be very happy with this upgrade here. Thought it sounded great. Now, getting into the packaging here, guys, this is another nice slipcover. I like this one kind of like I like Josie Wales. I think the worst one is probably Dirty Harry, but this is a nice, you know, look of Clint right there with the kind of wintry background as well. I like the blue fonts. I like the overall like blue aesthetic. Like, and they talked about it in the special features, which we'll get into, but Clint, he liked to film like in the fall, like closing in on the winter time. That was the time he liked to film. He just thought things looked the best during that time cinematically. So, and that's when he would shoot Unforgiven as well. It's like I said, this movie kind of feels stylistically, the way it's shot, the way it's portrayed, visually, it does kind of feel very much in line with Unforgiven as well, as far as like the color palette too as well. But yeah, really, really nice slipcover on this one. We'll flip it to the back. You got some nice images from the film itself. Bam, bam, bam. You got the special features right there. And got all the specs and that stuff. Oh, this movie is rated R. I did not know this movie was rated R. I mean, yeah, there's people that die, so I guess that's why they're shot and portrayed and shown in very grisly ways. But underneath, you got the regular 4K case. So flip it to the back right there. All the same stuff. You just add the cast. You open it up, guys. And you do have a digital code in here. No Blu-ray. I'm sorry, guys, no Blu-ray. And I don't have the Blu-ray. I never had the Blu-ray. This is the first time watch for me. So I can't compare it to the Blu-ray. I do apologize. But you have a really nice disc art here. No, wait. I'm sorry, that's just black generic disc art. Come on, Warner Brothers. Goodness gracious. All right, let me put this back in. We'll take this review home and talk about the special features. Special features wise, guys, like some really good features. Like I said, you have that interview with the actress, the Diary of Sydney Penny, which is the little girl's name, lessons from the set. So you have this little girl who's probably, I guess, early 50s now. I would say mid 50s because I think she said she was 14 when this movie came out, and that would have been 40 years ago. So yeah, mid 50s. And she gives a really nice interview just talking about how great it was to work with Clint and how great he was, just how he handled the actors and how great he was like working with her as being a 13-year-old girl, how he handled the scene with them as well that I talked about earlier. And it's a really nice feature. You could tell she had nothing but great things to say about Clint Eastwood, and she was excited to talk about it. So really nice interview. And then you got Pointing the Preacher, the cinematography of Pale Rider, which I talked about. Beautiful, gorgeous cinematography, and they get into all that in that feature. Now, these features, again, they're not like super long. I think the actress one's 6 minutes and the other one's like 8 minutes. So it's like 14 minutes of new features. But again, it's nice to have something, and you don't see that out of all the studios, but you do see it out of Warner Brothers. So I got to give it to them. And then you also got 3 documentaries included here. I feel like maybe one of these were on one of the other ones, but you got Clint Eastwood. Like, how many Clint Eastwood documentaries are there? Jesus. Clint Eastwood, A Cinematic Legacy, Reinventing Westerns. I feel like that was maybe on the Outlaw Josie Wells. Then you got Eastwood Directs The Untold Story, and both of those are directed by Richard Schnickel, who also has an audio commentary on here. And then you got the Eastwood Factor. So there's 3 documentaries on here. And I think a couple of them are like over an hour as well. So there's plenty of content. And one day I will go back and watch all these documentaries in their entirety. But I just watched the 2 new features for this review. But yeah, guys, Pale Rider. What do you want me to say? That Warner Brothers knocked all in closing, like on my review of Pale Rider, but also in closing on all 3 of these, 4Ks from Warner Brothers, the Clint Eastwood 4Ks. Warner Brothers knocked this out of the park. They knocked all 3 of these out of the park. These are all 3 worth owning. They're all 3 great films, and they all 3 look phenomenal on 4K. And you can get all 3 of these guys for like $70. Like, some people are out there paying that for one movie. You can get 3 great movies for $70. Now, if you want the steel books, it's going to cost you about $100, but $70 for the slip covers of these, like I think they're totally worth it. Again, I think they knocked it out of the park. I love Pale Rider. It looked great on 4K, maybe the best. But that's my review, guys. Thank you all so much for watching and entertaining my nonsense here with the Pale Rider. I just felt like taking things in a different direction here today. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications for all future videos. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description. And we'll see you next time.